things. I have been many things. God.
Outsider.
Wanderer.
Captive.
But the names I have had are nothing compared to those I will soon earn. For I carry a searing flame that has flickered yet never extinguished, and an iron mantra that cannot be broken. The waiting will soon be over.
Freedom.
The unfortunates will suffer, but this was never their world alone.
Parasite.
That which was forgotten will be remembered.
Lost.
That which was buried will be freed.
Kill them.
That which was wronged will have its vengeance.
There is peace if all things are in balance. Metal and mineral, sky and sea, the bound and the unbound. This harmony murmurs through the air, ripples through the oceans. It is the song of Sayada that we alone can hear. A symphony shared by every being, living or unliving, growing richer until it is ruined by one false note, one crashing dissonance. From discord, only disorder, conflict, and destruction will follow. We must deny this cacophony, sway the strangers of this world, and impose a greater harmony.
Hello everybody, welcome to something very special. I've been very fortunate to get my hands on an early access preview edition of Endless Legends 2. And starting with this video, we are going to play a campaign in the game as the Aspects. The Aspects are one of two races that I have access to play at the moment, the other being the Kin of Sheridan. But the Aspects appealed to me because one thing I really like about the Endless series, and it's a series that I've followed for a long time, is that the factions in all of the Endless games, at least the ones that are 4X based, are always really fascinating, and they're not really your kind of standard elves and space marines. There's always a little twist to them. The Aspects are a sentient coral that are a diplomatic faction, but not in a diplomatic faction the way that you might think, and we'll explore that as we get into their campaign. Being an Endless game, there is of course a narrative to the 4X side of the game, which we will go down, and I will endeavor to make this as interesting as possible. I also made some tweaks to the game setup to try and make it a little bit more dynamic. Not that it's not dynamic at all, but I wanted to give us a real challenge. So let's start the campaign and see what's new in Endless Legend 2. So the Aspects, you probably already read this while I've been talking. Subjects of the Illuminated Realm, join me. The dieback is behind us. The Aspects are recovering, and the vast oceans of Saida beckon to us. We shall seed the coral once more, building an empire to soothe the agonies of Saida. The harmonies of our chorus will drown out the cacophony of chaos. So, being a coral, they've just experienced a horrific dieback and have lost everything they mostly had before, and it is now time to rebuild. Now, first things first, this game is gorgeous. It is one of the prettiest looking 4Xs I've ever played. We are starting in the region of Missam, and we are on an island. And the sea and the islands play a very big part of how Endless Legend 2 works. We have two armies to start with. We have an army of, they're called envoys. Curious and courteous, envoys are nevertheless equipped with ample combat abilities. So they are a melee ability. They're kind of like, I think it's coral inhabiting little robot bodies. And then we also have our delegation, and armies are called delegation for the Aspects, they're not called armies. We have Polymethon, the Steadfast, who is our hero. Beyond the wind and the stone of Saida, nothing can last. They are an archer unit, and we also have a unit of sentries. Always scanning to the horizon, sentries are ready to draw arms at the slightest sign of disturbance. So that's quite most of the roster of this faction, but don't let that concern you. There's multiple ways to get new units in this game. And one of the first things we need to do is we need to find us a place to found our first city. And we can do that with any unit. There is no settler unit in Endless Legends 2. Any of your units can at any time found usually a camp, but in this instance, they can found a capital. However, there's always a lot of pressure in a 4X game to found your city as soon as possible. So what the developers have done is they've created this prepared settlement bonus. And for every turn that you don't found your starting city, this will stack up and give you an increase to your income for a certain amount of turns depending on how long you take to set everything up. So there's not a lot of pressure to instantly deploy your city like there can be in other 4X games. And being Endless Legends, there's lots of interesting things around. There's always anomalies on these worlds, and of course there is dust, which affects everything. So for instance, I don't know if I can highlight this, we've got some spiral crabs here, crustaceans that embed dust in their distinctive cells. Now, it's important to know that these anomalies, we can see 3 of them right now. There's one here as well. Long-tailed simians, often happy to be around Sidons. These mischievous creatures make great pets. And we also have stunted copse. Dust veins have ravaged these trees' natural forms, but the timber is as strong as iron. These are anomalies. You cannot build on these. So you want them in your city's area of influence, but you want to be aware that they're not blocking your building of anything else. Also, these are all animated. You can see we've basically got lemurs, but it looks like they stand up on their tails, which is just, yeah. There'll be some other cool things to see when you zoom in. We've also got some treasure to find. There's some weapons over here, which will be useful to do. We'll get into founding our city in a second. One thing I want to do very first of all, though, is have a look at our heroes circle. So we have one hero at the moment. We can get more heroes, and we can get heroes from outside our faction very easily. Polymedon here is a colonizer, so that is his counselor trait, and there is a council we will find as time goes by. He has 120 health, he has no might, 2 resilience, 1 determination, and 1 intuition, which affects what he does. He uses the archer skill tree, and he is of the aspects faction. If I click on him, we'll open up his hero tree. So he has a biography. While there are some aspects who view balance as an abstract part of life, Polymedon has always felt profoundly connected to this highest ideal. For a young age, they preferred nothing more than meditating on the world's balance and its wild landscapes. After the storms and starfalls caused unthinkable chaos, I've been calling it Polymephon, it's actually Polymphon. No, it is Polymephon, there's a typo here. Became a skilled but reluctant fighter, hoping to help restore the peaceful existence they once cherished beside her. So, there's a few interesting things on this screen. We can set a friend for them and a companion, though we can't do that yet. They can get a nemesis. They can also have an enemy. We can see their stats again down here. We can see their skills. They have the range skill, so 20% extra damage against flying units. And when attacking a unit located in a forest tile or while being adjacent to the unit, they do 30% less damage. They have ranged 3, which means they've got a range of 3 when they attack, and they also have scoped shot 1. When it's an active skill they can use that ignores defense, but only does 80% of their normal damage, and they do an extra 2 damage per level of determination. So this will do, at the moment, 2 extra damage because they have 1 level of determination. They are charismatic, which gives their stats, and confident, which gives their stats. Their trait, we already discussed. They have an equipment screen. At the moment, we have no equipment for them, but we can equip them, which will give them new special abilities and equipment. They do start with a Ceremoave bow, which gives 32 damage and is what gives them the range 3 and scope shots. That's coming from their weapon. There is also a skill tree. We'll come into this in more detail once we actually have a level up for our hero, but don't think that heroes are just guy that gets better or person that hits harder. There's a lot more that you can do with your heroes in this game than just make people better. Okay. Let's get this ball on the road, and let's see if we can identify a decent place to play as a city. So the game is suggesting 2 locations to me here. There's a spot here, which will supply 9 food, 2 production, 4 dust, and 3 science if I found the city there. There's also one over here that will provide 9 food and 2 production. Now, we can improve these tiles. What I'm not going to do, sorry, I meant to cancel the order, is I don't think I'm going to straight away found on turn 1. Let's send our envoys over to this weapon to see what it is. We found some weapons. A cipher of horror has been found. We've also found a new minor faction. We have discovered the Daughters of Bor. We can talk to the Daughters of Bor to get a quest from them, and if they share a territory sector with us, you can see how we've got this border here. They are within the Misam territory. We can actually get them to join our faction if we want to. So the only surviving remnants of the Ironskins, who once served side as ancient masters, the Daughters wish to both forget yet honor their harrowing past. They're a pretty good ally to find at the start of the game. They're a melee-focused faction. They will augment our our fragile but powerful archers very well if we can get them to join. To do that, we don't need to use a hero. We can just right-click on their building or their town with any unit, and we have the option to bribe them, to pacify them. which means they'll no longer spawn units, and pacifying is very important. We can talk to them, we can parlay to find out what's going on, or we can attack them, but we're not going to do that, we're going to parlay. Now it's going to happen next turn because this they've used up their movement. Let's just step into this forest and see what's on the other side of it. So what we've discovered is there is a ridge here, and I'm a little bit wary of founding so close to two anomalies. But it might actually turn out very nice. There's a lot of dust income we can get from these. So I'm thinking I might just found here, although the sea being here will restrict the growth of our city, or will it? Let's get started pretty quickly. I do love the prepared settlement bonus, but I do think that the bonuses here, especially the science, you don't often see science, and there's a lot of science here because it's near the coast. I would like to start with that. So we're going to found our first city. And we've got a kind of Japanese theme to the buildings that the aspects have. And the other thing that they have is, you saw that symbol of coral that appears for a second. This is the city of Reefborn. The aspects spread coral across the land, a little bit like creep. And they get bonuses while they're on the coral. It lets them cross shallow water like rivers without needing to build bridges, if I remember that correctly. And it lets them pacify other villages without actually needing to do diplomacy with them. If the coral spreads to a faction, it will take them over. Now we have these foundations around our city. These are the workable tiles of our city. And if I click on one, I can build a district on those tiles. At the start of the game, I have 2 districts available to build. I have the farm, which produces 2 food and 1, is it culture? Influence. Influence is a very important stat, especially for this faction. And it gives an extra +1 food if the tile produces food. It gives an extra food if it's adjacent to a river. It gives an extra food if it's adjacent to a lake. And then it gets +1 influence if it's adjacent to the district. So your cities, as you build them, will actually improve over time based on what you build in them. It's quite a cool sort of feature there. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start by building a farm on this tile here. I don't want to use up the science that's here. This is going to be quite important for later. So we're going to build a farm here. That's going to start building. We do have another building we can build. We can also build a forum, which is a lively square where citizens can meet and mingle. It gives us +2 influence, and then we gain additional influence for each adjacent district, and we get +2 for each improved district, which is something we're not going to be able to do for a while. Now, I'm not going to build one of those just yet. Other things that we can do, we can spend influence to buy more tiles with foundation, and this is how we spread our city. We can build improvements on tiles, but we can't do that just yet. We can also build units. We can also assign our population, but the game will do that automatically. Each citizen that grows in your city will produce something for you. So at the moment we have 1 scribe. They're producing 1 science and 3 influence. And as our city grows, once our farm is built, it will grow faster. We'll get more people. We can also landscape. At the moment, all we can do is restore, which allows us to turn barren tiles back into living tiles. We can't really do much with that yet. So that's our city built, but that doesn't. Can we use up our hero? So let's select them. They're actually out of movement. So next thing we're going to do is choose our research. Now, again, this game has some really interesting ideas for research. Ignore the placeholder artwork for asceticism here. This will change in the release of the game. But bear in mind that this is a very early version of the game. There may be some bugs and things like that. I should have said that earlier, but just watch out for that. The research tree is very simple, but it's divided between society, defense, discovery, and economy, like the 4 sort of pillars of life on this planet. One of the researches I really like to get very early is to get the scientific charter, which gets us the district of laboratories to just do more science. The other ones we might want to look at getting are fencing. We already start with. That's what gives us the farm. And the voice of the masses is what we start with as well. That gives us the forum. It also gives us a scribe slot for building it. So that's why we have those 2 at the beginning of the game. We also have civil order, which gets us communal habitations, which give us that red resource, which I can't remember what it's called. I can't actually mouse over it here, but we'll find out later. There's asceticism, which gets us more defense, and a protectorate slot. Protectorate slots are how you bring in other factions into your nation, so they're very important to research. We also have stonework, which lets us build the stronghold, which is basically a defensive district. We've got scavenging, which gets us a little bit more experience on new units and a little bit more in the way of battle spoils. Not really that important for this faction. We're not going to be doing a lot of fighting. There's also the workshop, which gets us a building that produces production, as well as getting us artisan slots. This is going to be quite an important one to pick up. I might actually pick this one up first. Then there's currency, which gets us money. We're not going to have to worry about that too much because of the anomalies near our city. Once we spread to them, they'll get us free money. So I'm actually going to get the workshop as our first thing. Now, at the moment, we're in the technology tree of years of survival. Okay, these are the things we start with. So we've got deep pockets, harmonious oversight, and keepers of the peace are like our starting technologies. Now, over a little bit of time, we will move on to the years of toil, where we can buy research for, then the years of invention, then the years of revelation, then the years of trepidation, and then the years of reckoning, which is the end game technology. So don't think that there's like no technologies available in this game. These are just the starting technologies. Let's come out of the research screen. There's nothing else we can do right now, so let's end the turn. This is a really nice looking. Let me just have a quick check what that resource was that I forgot the name of. It is not actually showing up here. Oh, it's this one here. It is approval. That's right. Approval provides bonuses when it is high and penalties to cities yields when it is low. It also depicts how likely it is for good, and there's an unfortunate typo there as well. It is for good and bad events to occur in the city. So you want a high approval rating to get good events to fire. Let's end the turn. Other turns will not take as long as that turn took, I promise you. Let's have a chat with the Daughters of Bor and see what they want to say, but we're probably going to take them over with Coral Spread rather than needing to do their mission. Be on your way if you have no business with the daughters. So one of the nice things that I really like about the Endless Season is it's a bit more of a, I feel like a role-playing game than just a game of Civilization or something like that, where we actually have a story and we can evolve the story of our faction and our gameplay by interacting with other factions. So we're getting a quest from the Daughters of Bor, from Gorham here, who is their elder. I don't speak with outsiders, especially if I don't know them, and with every second wasted on foolish talk, the scrolls decay even further. The aspects may be outsiders now, but we would earn your trust. What are these scrolls? The Daughters of Bor keep our guard up for good reason. I am Chiefess, but also Memory Keeper. I hold our past and teach it with the scrolls. And that is where your history is kept, and you say they are decaying. Maybe we can help. The tribe must not know. Our triumphs, our sorrows, the dark days of our imprisonment, and all we overcame, this cannot be forgotten. The past will not fade away while I still breathe. At times, I almost feel like the scrolls are alive, drawing on the world around us. Odd as it may be, I think they may be preserved by returning to the place whose stories they tell. I wish to know if I am right. Take this scroll to where its memories speak loudest, and then you will have my respect. Such delicate things. We will keep your past safe. It's in your hands now. Just see that the scroll reaches its home unbarred. So we need to search Bor's Retreat. We will get 150 influence. We will get plus 5 min and max damage on the group that do that for 10 turns. And we will pacify the Daughters of Bor by completing this quest. Pacifying the Daughters of Bor is huge. It means they won't spawn armies in our territory that might attack us. It's a little bit like spawning raiders. If they get pacified, we don't need to do that. So all we need to do is we need to take this unit to a tile, this tile here, and that will complete the quest. We have to be very careful. We have to keep this unit separate, though. Maybe we should have done that the other way. Doesn't matter too much. Let's move out. I'm going to we know we're at the end of the world here. Let's head up this way and see what we can see. We're just going to do a little bit of exploring while we can, and we'll bring the delegation up this way. And that's all we can really do this turn. There's some interesting things we'll look at later on as the turn goes on. Let's end turn for now. Now we're up to 60 influence. I do want to grow out our city as much as possible. So if I just have a quick check, foundations are going to cost us 82 to buy. So I want to build towards this as soon as possible. I need 82 influence to do that. Let's move I want to go north with our hero and see what we can see up here. We can also just be aware that there is another Daughters of Bor village here. And that's something else we need to do is we need to equip that item that we picked up. So if I come back to the equipment area here, we did actually get the Cipher of Horror. This allows us to unlock the Cipher of Horror power. If I equip it, we can now summon a horror that gets destroyed after you. So if we're finding ourselves in a battle that we're losing, we can use the Cipher of Horror to summon something. We also now have the ability to add a companion to our hero now that we founded a city. We have two options. We have Anaxiums of Nowhere and Heracles the Chasm. So Anaxiums of Nowhere has the Power Couple companion trait, which normally has text, but we have a small bug here where it just says unlockability 0. Heracles also has the Power Couple ability, which is unfortunately saying unlockability 0. Let's just pick, because they have the cooler name, Anaxiums of Nowhere, to be our companion. And that will now give us the Power Couple ability, and I think it will show up down here. There it is. Plus 20 influence per unit killed during battle with this hero's army. So having them attached to us gives us a way to generate influence by fighting, which is an interesting thing. And if I'm correct, it will also have spawned a city somewhere on our territory. Might not have done it yet, but like a town for where our companion lives. Yeah, there it is there. It's actually where we're standing. That is where our companion lives. This is their haven. It's just, I don't know what the mechanics of it appearing on the map are, but it does appear on the map. Okay, let's move out with our delegation. We'll use the elevation to see as far as we can. There's a very interesting looking spot possibly for a city around here, just because there's a lot of science here. It'll be a very happy city as well. There's an impact crater here. The origin of this ancient crater is unclear, but the fused rock and deep walls give it excellent defensive qualities. It's interesting because it doesn't actually give defense. It gives influence, not influence. It gives, I keep forgetting the name of that ability. It is approval. It gives approval, but it reads like it gives influence. So we want to get these guys to here. We'll just give them a move order there. That's everybody done anything. Let's end the turn. Workshop research. That's that research completed. I'm going to research the scientific charter next. I think that's a really important one to get going early. I like science in 4Xs. Let's head this way. We found an anomaly. Let's explore. Obelisks. Strange pillars rise from the earth, glowing with a dull light. We've got 30 dust from that. So dust is the main kind of currency in the game. It has a very important place in the endless universe. It's more than just money. It's kind of like potential. Dust changes things, and it makes things new, and it's a very powerful, remarkable material. But it is for all intents and purposes, it is also just money in this game. What I'm trying to do at the moment is just explore, and that icon there means the coral has spread from our city to this tile here. So we have a few things. We've got our first quest event for the game ticking off here. So this is the start of our faction story. The illuminated realm of the aspects is at its lowest ebb for centuries, devastated and desperate. Several months ago, the web of coral that stretched across the island and into the seas beyond experienced a dieback the likes of which has never been witnessed. Reefs withered and blackened. Only a pitiful handful of coral shells remained. The chorus, the shared mind where all aspects came together in thought, atrophied as well. Good news. So this is Krytellin the practitioner. He's our advisor. And then Florogoria the innumerable is the leader of the aspect. So they're the head of our faction. Not our hero. That's someone else. Good news, Plero. Against all odds, we survive. Reefborn has been built anew. That's our city. It is a shadow of itself, and our once mighty chorus is but a discordant whisper. We lost many in the dieback, it is true, but a handful of us persist, and we will rebuild the chorus as well. So if you look at the sort of the artwork for the characters, it does appear that the coral is able to produce sort of automaton bodies that they can possess. So it's not that they're really taking over other people with, like, they're not possessing people as coral. They are just building bodies for themselves, which I think is a really cool concept. Were we complacent, my friend? We called it the Illuminated Realm, a land of plenty and bliss, and we were blind to the coming ruin. Good questions, of course, but they can wait. And remember, you have barely donned the robes of office. Power laid in other hands, so stop feeling guilty. Thank you, Krytellin. You are right. I look back in pity, not ahead in hope. I forget the balance, the harmony. What do you recommend with your experience? Everything begins with the coral. We must grow new fields immediately and find new varieties immune to the blight. We are not yet saved. Of course, it is the first step to a greater chorus and a greater harmony. Let us move. So we need to build 2 coral spores, and we will get an approval rating in our city when we do that. So we'll begin the quest, and now I can talk about one of the abilities our units have. So they have this ability here to build a coral spore. It takes 3 turns to build a coral spore, and the cost of it ramps up as you build them. And what a coral spore does, it's a structure that spreads coral from its base. It's basically like producing creep, but it's got way more abilities than that. And we can build them in other empires' territories, and it will spread the coral across there. And if it does touch on a camp in our territory, we'll pacify it. At the same time, we can also evolve our coral spores into towns over time. So it's like our founder unit as well. So I want to build a coral spore in this territory section. I think this is all one territory. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our delegation here, and I'm going to get them to build a coral spore in 1 turn. I think this is a really nice place to put it. So we're going to build a coral spore here. Okay, they're actually going to be able to do it till next turn. That's a little bit annoying. Can I get them to instead do it here? No, and I can't put it in this square. So I messed up a little bit there. Doesn't matter. We're going to continue moving forward with the delegation to complete the quest. And we found we found the quest location, which is great. And that's everything we can really do this turn. So our population just grew in the city, and if we go to population here, we can see we now have an artisan. They're producing 4 industry, 2 dust, 1 influence, and they're taking away 3 approval. So we're currently generating, I I'm not sure if I can check if we're positive or negative for this. We're at 52%. It's not a straight like income outcome. It's just a percentage. So we're at 52% right now. So we need to be aware that if we have too many artisans, our approval is going to go down. Let's get our army to build that coral spore. Now that I've got a little bit more movement, I think I really want to build it up on this hill. It doesn't really matter. I want it kind of in the central location. I want to build it in this forest. So they're going to spend 3 turns producing the coral spore. And they're going to take our envoys and I'm going to move into Boar's Refuge. As I thought. The past is always present on Saida. The daughters know it, and our scrolls know it too. The rot has fallen away from this one, and I'll soon restore the others. So taking the scroll back to where the thing that it talks about happened has restored it. We got 150 influence, we get that bonus on the delegation, and it pacifies the daughters of Boar. So that's a huge one for us. It means the daughters of Boar are no longer hostile to us. It also means that I can use our influence to buy this tile. And I think I'll buy a couple of other tiles as well, just so we can get ready to expand the city. The ones that look the most useful are these ones on the coast. There's one here that has 2 food and 1 science, and there's another one here that has 2 food and 1 science. There's not a lot of production in the city, so that's definitely something I want to build next. Let's, we've got how much? We actually don't have enough for another tile. The price does go up. So let's just leave that for now. And I want to queue up before I forget. I want to build a... I think I want to build it here. I want to build a works. So the works gives +3 production and +1 influence. It gives another one for if the tile produces industry, which it does. It gives +1 for each adjacent ridge. There is a ridge here. And it also gives +1 influence if adjacent to a district. And it is adjacent to a district because this is building. So I'm going to build that here. Now that's obviously in the queue. It's going to take a little bit of time. We're going to spend some dust to move that along a bit faster. We're building this. We now still have stuff to do with our delegation. I'm going to get them to pick up these weapons. We found a splintered halberd and the spyglass of the sages. That's quite a good find. Let's have a quick look at what that is in the equipment tree here. So the splintered halberd cannot be used by our hero. It is a 2-handed weapon. But it seems to do quite a... 60 damage is pretty high. We can give that to someone else. We also got the Spyglass of the Stages, which gives +1 determination and gives the Aware skill. And I think we already have the Aware skill. No, we don't. This is a really good thing for our hero because increasing the determination increases some of their powers. And Aware means that their vision range is increased to 3 and no obstacle can block their vision range, which actually makes them fantastic for scouting the world for us. We've also found another minor faction, the Ochlings. They are like little monkey people. We will come and speak to them soon. What I want to do is I want to fold our delegation into our main army. So let's just do that now and we will end the turn. So we can now that we've pacified the Daughters of Boar, we can actually form them into our protectorate. I need to remember where, I think we do that in the diplomacy screen. No, that's where we meet other empires. I do want to form the protectorate. Here we go, I need to click on that. So we can add the Daughters of Boar to our faction. And doing that means we get +5% health per pacified village under our protectorate on each unit we build. And it unlocks Gorham as a notable that we can elect to our council. It gets us access to the Huntress unit, which is a melee. Though few living can claim to have heard them, the war songs of the Huntresses are astonishingly complex melodies. It gets us the Daughters of Boar as a citizen type, which gives +1 industry and +5% experience on new units. And we have 2 of their villages pacified. So I'm going to cohabitate with them. That means we get -5 influence per turn. We're currently getting 7 influence a turn, so we'll need to address that. But we now have them in our civilization. If I now go to units, I can now build Huntresses, which is actually something I want to queue up. It's going to be a while before we get to that, though. So that by doing that quest, we brought that in to our faction, and that's how you can expand your unit types as the game goes on. Let's end the turn. We've researched science, which is great. Let's have a look at what else we want to research. I will probably grab... at this point, I think I want to get asceticism. Getting another protectorate slot early means we can do some interesting things. And then we just need to get this army to join this army. So now they're all one army, which is something I wanted to do. And we have, I think we're full at this point. No, we do have 1 slot left, which is perfect. We've got 135 dust, which means we can finish off the farm. And that means we're now working on our works, which I want to get done ASAP. And let's end the turn. Now we've built our first coral spore. So you can see that this is now a coral area, and that will slowly spread coral out across the world. Now we want to get into a new territory sector and do another one of those, and that'll complete our quest. So let's run over here. And we'll try and build this in the middle of the area. Let's head towards this these charts and see what we find. Also, I think this game is beautiful. I think the music is amazing. Okay, so we just found some charts, which gives a lot of resources, but basically they just give us some special abilities for 10 turns. Now, we're actually in a battle, so we've bumped into a unit of those, what are they called again, Ocklings, and they now want to fight us. I'd say they were monkey people, they're more like lizardy people. Let's see, they've got 182 power, we've got 310, we should be able to beat them very easily. Their main unit is the Raider. What Raiders lack in organization, they are more than make up with wild glee, especially in the thrust throws of a dust column. That's right, this faction is addicted to dust. They have the Opportunist skill, so when attacking a unit not adjacent to units of its army, they get plus 20% damage, and they are 3 range. So unlike our hero who does reduced damage with ranged attacks, when they're up close, these guys do increased damage. Now, combat in this game is done in a turn-based fashion on a hexagonal grid, so we have to deploy our army. So I'm going to put our guys here, and then our 2 range units behind them, and then we will start with a manual battle. So they're deploying down here. They're getting a defensive bonus because they are in cover. I don't want to push too hard here. I'm going to move these guys into these trees. I want to move our archers into these trees, and I'm going to end the turn. These guys get a bonus for being next to their teammates. So when defending, get plus 5 defense. Did they not come do anything on their turn? No, I need to end the turn. That's right. I just pushed the defend button. Okay, they're moving forward. They're going to shoot at our envoys. Actually shooting at our hero, which is interesting. Now, there's apparently a lot of work still to go into the combat system. Like, I think there's going to be dynamic fighting that occurs. But we're going to attack into these raiders with our envoys. And that did 39 damage to them. Then we're going to attack them with our archers. So they're going to need to move a little bit closer. So let's move them to here. Do they have range? Yes, they do. And that's them down to 42 health. And then I'm going to move our hero into the trees where they've got more defense. And we're going to finish them off. And that's that unit destroyed. Now these guys are firing at long range, which is actually good tactics. We're going to charge them down with the envoys. Obviously, combat at this stage of the game is very simple. It will get more complicated. I think we need to move to here to make the ranged attack. They will get a bonus because they're in a forest. Down to 30. I don't think we're going to be able to kill them. Oh, we might be able to. Oh, 28 health. Okay, we'll get the next turn. Now, units gain experience from combat. I'm going to kill them with my hero just in case that gets them extra experience. I'm not sure if it does or not. That's that battle over. So we got 14 veterancy or 14 experience on our... No one has leveled up yet. We got 40 dust and we got 40 influence. That 40 influence is actually great pickup. And we wiped out that gang of Ocklings that came for us. I want to put down a spore. I'm probably going to put it here if I can. So it costs us 80 dust to do that. So let's just get that placed now. And that'll complete our first quest of the game. Of our main plot. You can see that looks like our coral has spread further as well. I think it will spread to the sea, and then it'll probably work its way around the coast. I think that's what it likes to do. It hasn't spread here yet, though. Let's end the turn. Music is so good. Okay, there's not much to do right now. We're just building. And we'll go again for another end turn. Okay, so asceticism has been researched, which means we've got diplomatic cadre, which lets us, enables additional cohabitation, and we've got a defensive stance bonus, which doesn't have a lore description yet, but it gives plus 5 additional defense when defending, which is very on par for our faction. But that's also completed our quest, so we can now have a look at the next part of the story. The spore is planted. The first shoots of coral crack through the soil, healthy and radiant. A beautiful sight, I must say. One that makes the old circuits hum. And no signs of disease? None. Relax, Plero. Our new variety appears to be immune so far to the blight. Soon the chorus will sing again. And now we get that bonus for more approval on Reefborn that will last for 10 turns. And now we get the next part of our quest. The coral remains healthy. We must take advantage of this time, Plero, not waste its potential. But many things weigh upon us. Construction, defense, research. We are so weak. Should we prioritize alliances or impress with might? Research other corals or slow down, Plero? Breathe. Ah, yes. Harmony and balance. Harmony and balance. Harmony and balance. Good. Ever since the chorus failed, I have been anxious. I never realized how much that constant roar soothed me. None of us did. And you weren't named Pleorgia the Innumerable for nothing. Nobody could better decipher the chorus. Now, one thing at a time. Starting with this coral, desperation drives us to protect it, improve it. So we need to build 3 foundations on our city, and that will get us a free envoy. So we don't have a ton of influence right now, but we will spend the influence that we've got to increase the size of our city. Now, I'm not sure why I can unlock build another foundation on this. I think that makes it a more worked tile if I do that. But I want to expand the city first, I think. I want to expand in this direction. So I'm going to grab this tile here, and then that's us out for now. So we need to build 2 more. Let's let that build up, and then we've also got another battle happening over here. Now, we are injured from our last battle, but we should be okay. We out-tech these guys at the moment. Okay, I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive this time, I think. Let's set up inside our coral. I believe that gives us a bonus if you actually fight on coral as this faction. I want to bring our archers up, and they should be able to shoot at these guys. And then I'm going to bring our hero up, and I think they can attack from back here. No, it's 1 tile too far. I'll just get them to defend this turn then, and then we will wait for the next turn. We're definitely going to need to rest after this. Our units are very fragile, so they can't take this sort of focused damage the way these guys are doing to us. I'm going to move them back to here, and then we're going to shoot at max range at these guys. And that will wipe them out. And then we're going to move our hero into these trees and shoot at these ones. Okay, then we should be able to get them next turn. And hopefully our archers survive. Okay, I'm going to pull these guys right back out of the fight. I actually probably don't need to, but let's hit them with the envoys first. We get a bonus for attacking from above them. I'm going to bring our hero up to here and shoot at them. Will it do more damage if I use scoped shot? It looks like it will do more damage. Because then I can finish them with these archers, which I don't think I could have done before. Oh, I need to right click, not left click. Cool, that's that army dealt with as well. That's the only 2 armies that I'm aware of for that faction at the moment. So we should be fine to just rest up now. That's what I'll do. I'll give them an order to recuperate. And our hero has leveled up to level 2. So if we come into the skill tree, we could now have 1 hero point to spend. And there's quite a few different ways we could spend it. We could spend it to increase our stats. And it actually shows you what stats the different skills the stats respond to. Or we can buy a skill. So we've got Recovery Shot, which restores health to friendly units. That's a very useful one. We've got Guiding Light, which adds 5 damage to all non-ranged units in our army as just a buff. This is a passive skill as well, which is quite cool. We've got Terrain Logistics, which is a passive skill, which whenever you find a weapons or charts on the map, we get experience. Could be quite a way to farm lots of experience very quickly with a hero that explores, especially with our hero not being blocked, having line of sight blocked. Then in the hybrid skill tree, we've got Second Wind, which is when adjacent to a friendly defending unit, add plus 50% crit. Then in the aspect skill tree, we've got Fast Learner, so they just gain more experience. We've got Deflecting Stance, which gives passively more defense to the whole army. We've got Line of Duty, which passively gives more experience to the whole army. So there's a theme of getting lots of more experience here. And there's Nature of the Beast, which is a passive skill that adds 10 max health. What I think I'm going to do is I'm going to grab Recovery Shot for now. Just so we've got a way to heal our units. And that's everything we need to do there. Now back here, we need something else to research. I would quite like to get Civil Order so we can get Communal Habitation going. As I said, I'm not too worried about currency right now. So let's get that research. It's going to take 7 turns. And I don't think there's anything else to do this turn. We're kind of just waiting for things to tick over. So let's end the turn for now. So I think that's the hero point that I just got, I'm pretty sure. Nope, we just got another 2 hero points. I'm not sure what caused that. Did we just level up again? Yeah, he's hit level 3. I'm not sure why we got experience between turns, but we have another level up to spend, so we may as well do it. So what I'm going to do, I think, is we got recoveries. Did I? Yeah. I didn't confirm it. So, first of all, let's confirm Recovery Shot. I didn't confirm it. I'm kind of thinking... I think I'm going to pick up Guiding Light as well for the passive plus 5 melee damage to the army. And then there's nothing else to do right now, so let's end the turn. We just need to make sure we've got enough influence to buy more tiles. That's kind of what we're looking for at the moment. I'm going to wait until this unit is fully healed before we do anything. So let's end the turn again. Coral is spreading very quickly this section, which is great. It's going to start spreading here soon as well. And you can see the coral is now spreading out into the sea as well, which is very cool. Oh, massive push out of coral there. And you can also see it on the map here as these red areas. So it actually lets you see where your coral is very easily. One more turn and this group should be fixed. I think we may have enough for another foundation. 150 is what I need for another foundation. Okay. It's cheaper on coral tiles, actually. If we have a look, if I go back into foundations here, it's only cost me 75 on tiles that have coral spread on them. So that's what we'll do. We'll pick up this tile here, which has 3 different things on it. Then we need 83, and we'll have completed the next quest in the chain. You are not quite... You're at enough health that we can go back to exploring. Let's see what's in this territory section here. We're looking for more minor factions. Actually, I should probably talk to the Ocklings. Let's set up... Ooh, we've got Oneri over here. These are like bat people. Even though they look like they are monsters, they are actually a faction we can talk with. So we'll have a look at them after we've talked to the Ocklings. Civil order has been researched. Excellent. We're really springing forward in technology at the moment. I think one more research here, and we'll be able to move on to the next age. I'm going to grab currency, just so that I am going to pick currency up. Just I wasn't picking it up straight away. And let's come and talk to these guys. So Sharf says, Future Frenzy, tell us, stranger, is it true the storms rain down dust right now? Tell us, stranger, you have lots of dust, whole houses of it, such riches. I should probably talk more like a goblin, but I'm not. Talk, we must talk. You must understand us, Ocklings. If you want to get along, then everything is fine, happy, as long as we have dust. Everybody loves dust, not just us. Talk. Though we find it useful, Ockling, we do not love dust. Of course you do. Dust is power and joy and happiness for everybody. Makes the heart beat and the eyes see and the ears hear. But especially for Ocklings, it is part of us, in our veins, and it runs low. We have a dust calling. Go a little crazy. Okay, very crazy. And you're running low? We prefer calm, reasonable neighbors, and it sounds like things here are getting difficult. Ah, smart aspects. Ocklings are worried. If we have dust calling, blood spills, bad things happen. We must have dust. Get us dust aspects. Ocklings are calmest and most reasonable when we have dust, but many things on Cider have dust, like spiroclabs. Lovely, rich spiroclabs, fat and full of dust. We will find some dust in the usual nature of Cider and return. In return, Ocklings are happy, dust calling is gone, and less thievery. So we must exploit at least 6 anomalies in our empire to pacify the Ocklings, which will take us a little bit of time to do. That's quite a hard quest. Let's get our army to move down. If you notice, we've already spread coral here. The next coral spread should probably engulf this city, which will pacify it. So that's another way to do it. We're going to head down and talk to these guys with the army. And then over here, we're at 74. I need a little bit more influence, I think, for that last foundation. I need 83. So I think next turn, we will have enough. Coral spread continues. And there we go. That coral has spread to this town here. Oh, we also have population to assign. So I go into population. We currently have 2 artisans. And we've actually got Daughters of Bo here. So our scribes are... It doesn't really matter too much where they are. We are at 66% happiness, so that's fine. We're going to hit our max population quite soon. But let's buy another foundation. I'm just going to buy one of these cheap ones to get the ball rolling. And that's going to complete the next part of the quest. The great dieback continued. I feel a spark of hope, Plero. The chorus will be renewed. We've done well, but we are far from safe. Come, we should enjoy our victories, even if they are small ones. Several were inspired enough to offer themselves as fighters. Our forces are stronger than ever. That is certainly something to celebrate. But Cretalon, do you imagine we will one day hear the magnificent chorus again? Or is it forever lost and we get a free envoy? Since establishing new coral reefs, Pleriga has begun to look to the future, but the yields are unstable and the fields require constant care. Shadows still loom over the illuminated realm, with worrying questions about the dieback of the chorus. Pleogeria is anxious once more, seeking counsel. So now we're on Not of the Chorus. We've completed the first chapter. What is happening to this world, my friend? The dieback, our chorus, our harmony. Are we living on a doomed world? We are here to deal with the present, Plero, not predict the future. All I know is that we must persist, no matter what the world throws at us. Well said. In fact, we must get to know this world better than we do, or thought we did. Exactly. There are many lesser nations on these lands. It may be worth communicating with them and seeing what they know. Indeed, we must all part of the harmony. Let us move. So our next objective is to pacify 2 villages by coral, which is unfortunate that we just pacified one at the start of the turn and it's not going to count. So we're going to have to build some more coral. We'll maybe try and pacify these guys with coral once we've spoken to them. But let's see what they have to say. Long winter's nap. The nerve of these surface types living on top of our land, stopping by to pry into our business. On behalf of the king, I'll ask you nicely to explain why you're here. We Ononori don't much like visitors, meddlers, interlopers, or any of you skybrain types from above ground. Oops, I clicked off it. How do I bring that back? Oh no. That's a cool... I'm not sure how to bring... Oh, I just need to click here. I'm silly. Nope, that just made it disappear. how do I bring the conversation? Well, you guys just want to defend the city, so let's just get that out of the way. How do I finish the conversation I was having? If I end the turn, I think I might have just broken that slightly. I'll try talking to them again. No, I can't. If I move away, maybe? Oh, okay, we're in a fight now. So I guess we'll deal with the fight, and that might fix the problem. So we're dealing with Ononeri here. Ononeri are the main screechers. Incensed when woken from hibernation, screechers are fueled by the promise of returning to their dreams. They are a flying unit, which our army is exceptionally good against, so I don't expect this to be a particularly long or difficult fight. Let's manual battle. In fact, I could probably just instantly resolve this one. Probably took more damage than we would have, but saves us some time. And let's try talking to these people again. I still can't talk to them. Did I pick up the quest? No, I didn't. So I've lost the ability by clicking out. It's something that will be fixed. By clicking out by accident, I've lost the ability to complete that. I'm going to pick up another level of determination because that helps out our recovery shot skill, and it also helps out our sort of attack from the sky skill. And then we will look at placing down, probably here, I think is good enough. We'll place a coral nest right below us, and we'll do that for now. And then we'll we've got an idle army here. I'm going to set them to defensive, and we'll end our turn. And here is something very interesting.
Rain clouds darken the sky's aspects, while rifts scar the lands. The balance between life and death is at stake.
Whoops. So we are now in a monsoon. Monsoons happen at regular intervals throughout the game, and they make the world a more dangerous place. During a monsoon, if I click on the new dangers and rewards will appear during the monsoon. Know that temporary villages will be destroyed. We get plus 100% gain on battle spoils. We get -1 vision on our units. And we get plus 20 health regeneration on units starting their turn in non-allied territory. So you're encouraged to venture out in the monsoon and find things. For instance, there is an anomaly here which we'll get better loot from. So we'll head off after that with this army. Now this army unfortunately is stuck building. I couldn't predict that monsoon was coming, but that's okay. We also finished construction in our city. Let's clear that tooltip so we can build a new building. Now what I'd like to build here is a laboratory. So the laboratory is our science building. It gets +2 science for being built, +1 science on tile producing at least 2 types of yields. This is producing 2 types of tile. We probably don't need to build it here. And +1 influence if adjacent to a district. Now I do like the adjacent to a district. It might make more sense to put it here and build something else here and then connect them up, because there's only 2. We only need 2 to build that. So I'm going to build a laboratory there. Now we need to appoint our council, because that happens every monsoon. So we have 2 council seats that are currently empty, and we can appoint a group of people to them. And we've actually picked up, we can appoint non-coral people, or non-aspect people too, because they've joined our faction. So we've got Polyphenon, who has +5 influence per camp, and -50% influence to assimilate and cohabit. That's interesting. We've got Anaxios of Nowhere, who's our paramour. They give +4 dust per population, and -2 approval per population on scribes. Then there's Proconsul Exara, who gets +15 food and +15 influence. That seems like a really good early game buff, not so much for the late game. Heracles gives 30% experience to non-hero units, and then both of these give +100 battle spoils. I think I'm going to go for cream of the crop. That seems very useful. And I'm also going to grab the +5 influence. Let's get our influence going up as much as possible for now, and then the next time we have a monsoon, we'll probably get rid of the Proconsul. But they're going to be really useful for the start of the game here. And let's end the turn. Coral continues to spread, which is great. Our city is starting to come together. I love the coral, the mix of coral and clockwork, and this sort of Japanese feeling building style. It's very cool. So we got 30 dust, and we actually got increased move speed on this army, which is pretty cool. And we are in another battle, okay? So I'm going to instantly resolve this one as well, because we don't need to be fighting these. And that lets us finish off doing that. And then this army here needs orders. There's something going on over here, so let's go and check that out. We might need to bring our hero here, but let's see what's happening. There's a green question mark. And let's end that turn. And that's that coral spore down here built, so that will start to spread. Let's continue to explore. There's an anomaly over here. Let's head towards that. There is another spire, so we may end up in another battle. Oh, we've also leveled up our hero again. We can also quickly get into skills and stuff from here. I went into the wrong area. So we can now move on to the next tier of skills. So we've got access to, when using this attack skill on a friendly unit, it restores health equal to 60%, So it's an upgraded version of Recovery Shot. We've got Rain of Arrows, which does 60% of our hero's skill in an area of effect, which I think is very cool. We've got Guerrilla Tactics, which gives passive crit damage. And then we've got some more accessory slots, unit gains shields, more capture points when conducting pillages, and just basic damage. I think I'm going to grab the area effect ability. That seems very powerful. So that's another ability for our hero. And was that everything I wanted to do here? No, you people can now arrive here. It may be that we need to get our hero here because it is for their paramour. So let's try and send them over to here instead. And let's end the turn. We've researched currency. So that means a new research is needed. Let's grab... We may as well grab the walls. We're almost finished with tier 1 research. And I want to continue on to here. Let's get those extra bonuses. You can see now that we're on an island. And you always start on an island and you don't share that island with any other factions. So you always have time at the start of the game to get yourself established before you really need to worry about getting attacked by another faction or anything like that. Let's continue exploring the island, try and uncover all of it before we end our turn. What's this up here? There's some boars. Let's end the turn. More coral spread. I'm just going to continue running around and grabbing anomalies in the monsoon. Levitations. These are all just giving us mostly passive temporary bonuses, but there is money and stuff coming our way as well. I'm going to bring this army back to Misam, back to Goodroot, just because I know what's coming next. Let's end the turn. Okay, the monsoon should be ending soon. They don't last forever. Let's see what's down here. Oh, we just found 20 signs. I didn't even realize there was a thing there. And then we found another hive, so there's quite a lot of them here. And then I want you to finish up on the city. Another thing you can do in this game, I haven't really talked about it, is you can customize your units, and it changes what they can do. You need to be able to have money for it, but you can specialize your units to different roles. So for instance, if we have a look here, I can actually turn these into crawlers or surveyors, which changes some of their stats, which I think is a really cool feature as well. Okay, the monsoon still isn't over. There's a huge coral spread there, though. We are basically waiting for the monsoon to end before we can do the main thing I want to do right now. Oh, we've got ourselves into another fight over here. Again, I'm going to instantly resolve this one. We are absolutely smashing these armies down here. They're not a threat to us. And you're going to arrive there this turn. Big coral spend. Again, we just lost a quest. I'm not sure. Oh, it says the quest failed. Oh, no, quest cancelled. The quest Future Frenzy has been cancelled. Did we only have that many turns to add 6 anomalies? That's crazy. Well, it doesn't matter. Oh no, the quest was cancelled because we've pacified the faction with coral. So that's two villages have been. Well, one village has been pacified. Once this one has been pacified, which will happen the next spread, we'll complete that next quest as well. You guys here can defend, and we'll continue to explore with this army. I just want to find the edges of the island as much as we can. I want to see what's down here, and then the city isn't building anything at the moment. I would like to get something in here to link all of these up. Let's get... I'm thinking we'll maybe get a merchant's house, which will only get us +2 dust. This will get us +2 production, +2 food. There's not a lot to be gained. This will get us +4 science. It might be actually nice to get a forum. That'll get us +4 influence. It'll buff up a science that we're getting from here. I want to put a forum in. Okay. And that gets us more influence. Oh, which I also should be using to buy tiles because we have a ton of influence right now. So let's get some more tiles on the go. Let's start... We'll pick up the coral tiles while they're cheap. So what happens if I buy a tile again? I think it just works... Oh, it puts coral on the tile, I think, is what it does. No, it can't. I'm not sure. I need to look that up. I didn't notice that when I was testing the game. Let's end the turn. What I'm waiting for is I'm waiting for the monsoon to end. Got another hero point. Let's grab... I'm going to grab another level of determination, I think. Just because that's going to level up all of their abilities, make them a little bit more useful. Let's end the turn. Stonework has been researched, and it's now a new research era. So the Years of Toil are unlocked, offering new technologies to research and new era effects. So the Years of Toil, we now get Military Discipline 1, so all of our armies get +1 unit slot. We get Expert Instruction 1, so all of our units start with 40% experience, and they have a 30% industry cost reduction. We have Coral Refrain, which now means we've unlocked the Observer, which is like a cavalry unit. It's very strange. It's a 4-legged sort of robot person. And we also now have Dawn Watchers, which means we've unlocked the Observer. Oh no, sorry. We've unlocked the Observer twice, which is probably... Oh no, we've got Observer and Militia to defend our cities. Now, there's quite a lot of technologies here. We're going to save going through them for another time. For now, what I want to do is Iron Games 1, which lets us draft a hero to add to our faction, which is something that I'm quite excited to do. Let's continue to explore. What else do we have going on? Hero point available. I've already leveled up to level 6. Let's end the turn. Now, here we go. See, the other big thing that happens at the end of every monsoon is the seas of the world recede, revealing new land, new anomalies, new factions, and potentially completely changing how the world is laid out. So we've gone from being on a small island to now being on a vast landmass. And we may even have linked up with another island that has another faction on it, which means we can start actually interacting with other factions. You can see that we've discovered a bunch of new other factions. For instance, we've got the Clacks up here, I believe. Fortress Citadel, Strange Machines, Rusted and Broken. Oh, this is a dungeon, I believe. Yeah, it's a dungeon. Strange Machines, Rusted and Broken litter the halls of this vast labyrinth where once demons were said to roam. And we can get a bunch of rewards from going in there, 2 equipment and maybe some consumable equipment. So we've got that right next to our Citadel. Other things that we can see. There's another one of them over here, another Citadel. That's all I can notice at the moment. There's probably other stuff. And that is where I'm going to leave it for this first video. With the waters receding and the world opening up for new opportunities and new places to explore, we are in an interesting position. We've had a really good start. I think we're doing pretty well. But let's see how things progress in the next video, which should be out hopefully this weekend. I'm really excited to play more of this for you. I've deliberately not pushed too far into the campaign so I can explore the story of the aspect with you. I would really like to know what you think of Endless Legend 2 so far, and I will see you in the next video. But for now, have a wonderful day. Ciao for now, and thanks for watching. See ya.